So about 10 months ago, a package arrived in the mail from Keith Titanium, and when I opened it up and I saw what was inside, I was actually a little bit surprised. This was not something I had been considering asking them for. In fact, I didn't ask them for this, and I certainly wasn't expecting it. They didn't tell me it was coming. And when I opened it up and saw what it was, I said, great. What am I going to do with this? Well, what I found over the last 10 months is I went through all the items that were in the box, and I used some of them. Some of them I liked more than others. And that's where I got the idea for this video. When I was packing up today, I reached for the Keith Titanium cutlery set that I used most often and thought, you know, it's probably a good opportunity to show you what else that they have and let you see what you may be interested in purchasing. All right, let's get started. All right, so what I thought I would do is just quickly show you each of these items. I'm not going to go through their specifications and things. I'll just show you what they are. We'll put the links for them, of course, in the video description if you have any interest in any of them. I'm going to save my favorite, my most used set to the end, and you'll see why when we get there. But let's get started. So here's one that a lot of people like to choose, a nice long-handled titanium spork, great for reaching into deep pots or into the freeze-dried meal bags, but it's a spork. And I just don't like sporks. It's neither a spoon nor a fork. My personal opinion only. I don't think it works well as either. But it's well made, and maybe it's your thing. By the way, all of the items I'm going to show you do come with nice little stuff sacks as well. So put that one aside. Now, they did send me a couple of other spoons. This one I just happen to like. This is another titanium spoon. You can see the handle's been skeletonized. It is a little bit shorter and it's a little bit different color, but this actually is something, if I know I'm not going to be needing a fork or a knife or anything else, this is probably the one that I'll put in my kit. I actually quite like this spoon. It's a spoon. All right, we'll put that one aside. Now here's another one that you may or you may not like. It has some utility, but once again, it's a spork. Okay, so here's the thing. On the end of it is this hook, and not being somebody who uses or opens bottles with caps, I didn't recognize it right away, but it is a bottle opener. But I will tell you what this is handy for is sometimes reaching in and grabbing the pot lids or even a whole pot off of a fire or off of top of a stove without getting your fingers too close. So while you may not be using it as a bottle opener, I think there is value in doing that. Also on the side of a pot, you can kind of hook it on the lid or on the top so the thing doesn't drop in right and you have to get your fingers in to get it out. But once again, it's a spork. You may like it, it's not my favorite. Okay, so the next set is just that. It is a full set, and I want to show it to you in the stuff sack. It's a little tiny stuff sack, and inside is an actual knife, fork, and spoon. All proper items. So no specific order. And by the way, they're all folding, and they lock into place, and they're all made of titanium. Nice little fork, serrated. It does work. It's small, but you know, that's what you get when you're looking for compact, lightweight kits like this. Along with that is the spoon. The spoon is nice. It locks also. And it's actually a generous size spoon. It's pretty good for soups if you're eating out of something fairly shallow, of course, because, again, it's not very long handle. But these are nice that you can put in minimalist kits and have something that you can stir your food, eat your food with. You're not going to, mind the extra weight of just one little titanium spoon. And the third thing, underrated by a lot of people, and that is a proper fork, right? So especially if you're eating things that require cutting, like a steak or something like that, or a piece of chicken, a proper fork is really important to have. So it's nice to have all three of these things, all folding and easy to clean and all in that little tiny bag. Doesn't weigh a whole lot. I actually do like that. Okay, something different. This I've used a fair amount. Here it is in the little bag. I'm sure most people will know what it is. It's a tea strainer. T-ball I think is what it's most often called. You can see by the darkening of the titanium, I did use this a lot. You just put in the amount of loose tea you want in here. Don't fill it any higher than the top of that because it does need room for expansion. It has the little locking lugs on it. Well, okay, they hold it in place. I don't know if locking is the right word. There's no ball chain like is often the case with a lot of tea balls, so you can dip them up and down and then eventually pull it out. But not necessary. I just leave it in until my tea's all gone and then it's good to go. You can use this for coffee. I will say this, and I have tried it, it's certainly not my favorite way. You're going to want a fairly coarse grind so it doesn't plug the little tiny holes in this. And it's going to take some time. It's going to take time for the water to actually extract all the coffee. In fact, if you want to go cowboy coffee with an easy cleanup, you could put this in, drop it in your pot and let it simmer if that's the way you like coffee, and this will make for easy cleanup after the fact. Yeah, actually not a bad thing to put in your kit if you're either a loose tea drinker or you want to try this for coffee. Okay, the next two items, honestly, they're not something that I use very often. Some people use them all the time. Maybe I'm going to start playing with them, and that is chopsticks. I do know how to use chopsticks, but Keith sent out along a couple of pair of titanium chopsticks. Let me get the two of them out. Oh, there are the containers, by the way. They're fancy aluminum containers. And the only difference between the two sets of chopsticks is that one is round in the barrel, and the other is squared off, rounded, squared off kind of a thing. And yeah, it's really a matter of personal preference. You know, I like using chopsticks with proper meals. Most of the meals I cook out here in the woods, these aren't really going to make a big difference. But, you know, they're small enough and light enough that if you're a fan of eating Chinese food, you can take these with you to the restaurant and know that you have a good, clean, well, easy to use set of chopsticks. Yeah, it's just a little bit different. They could almost, I think they'd probably be strong enough to use as tent pegs, but I'm not going to try, right? Okay, chopsticks, just another different utility. All right, the next two things are titanium straws. Yeah, really, titanium straws. Now, again, something I probably wouldn't use all that often, but let me tell you why it's worth looking at these. So one, as you can see, has the bent top, kind of a small diameter straw, probably on average. This one, on the other hand, is just a huge barrel of a straw. I can probably see other uses for this other than using it as a straw, but that's what it's intended for. Both of them come with cleaning brushes that you can just slide down inside and get them out of the way. And both of them have the little stuff sacks. So what's the big deal about a titanium straw? Why would you even want to consider it? Well, one of the nice properties of titanium that makes it so good for cutlery, dishes, and everything else is that one, they don't stain from the food. Two, they don't absorb any flavors. So they're actually very non-reactive. They don't rust, they don't corrode. They're great for you, also lightweight. Yes, I know, a bit expensive, but they're great lightweight items. If you can afford to get them in your kit, titanium offers some real advantages to the outdoors person because you're not going to have germs growing like down inside of your, a few mosquitoes yet out here in the woods. Not going to have them growing down inside of your straw. It's not a bad thought, right? So if that's something that you'd like to look at, they have those as well. That brings us to the last set. This is a full set of a knife, fork, and spoon. And this is my favorite because it's got great versatility and because it is actually a full knife, fork, and spoon. Not a miniaturized set or a folding set, but a proper size set. So this is what I reach for, drop into my lunch bag most often. And when I was looking at it recently, I realized there's a bit of versatility that I didn't even realize was there. And this is probably the reason why I wanted to share it with you. So let me just take it out of the bag, little stuff sack. Get it come out without catching on things. There we go. Now, the unique feature is not this little titanium carabiner. As nice as that is, well, you can find carabiners on a lot of knife, fork, and spoon sets, and they're great to have to keep things in one place. It's not that, but let's see if I can get it off. I'm not sure that I've tried to do this before. If I can get them off. No, I have to disassemble them first. Right on the end of the knife, fork, and spoon is a brass nut and bolt. That's the best way to describe it. They kind of look like a rivet or a grommet, but one does screw inside of the other, and that locks them into the set of three. So what I need to do is just unscrew them. They'll stay on the carabiner until I take them off. Now here's the thing. Don't lose them on the ground. I mean, you don't want to lose small parts. If you do lose one of these parts, it's still going to work as a knife, fork, and spoon. It's just that you've lost a little bit of the versatility that they offer, or let this little, yes, I guess it's what they offer from this little knife or nut and bolt. All right, put that aside. Okay, let's start with this. This is the nut, for lack of a better word. Can you see that it's got a star shape around the outside of it? That mates up with the end of the knife, fork, and spoon so that it will lock them in place. So let's say I wanted to turn this into a long-handled spork. Well, in fact, while they are still in that stack, I can turn them around. We're going to turn the fork and the spoon around. Now, the only reason I'm doing this and having all three on it is because you can use it, two of them attached at a time, but they stay a little loose. This will lock in as if it was one solid piece. So you just assemble all three of them. Show you where I'm going with it. Can you see I have the nut facing through? Oh, that's not the nut. Yes, it is. That's the nut. This is the bolt, for lack of a better terminology for it. And then mate them up, tighten them up, get started. Now I can position it like that. I guess I could make them into a triangle, have them stick out in three different directions, but you wouldn't use them like that. But this is what I found that was kind of special about this. Okay. A long-handled spoon, very long-handled. Yes, it does have a fork, so you could use it as a knife and fork, or a fork. You would have to move the knife out of the way in order to function that, but that's fine if that's the way you wanted to do it. But the benefit here is I have a 10, maybe 11-inch spoon that I can reach into freeze-dried bags or any deep pot to stir things up or to serve or eat out of, for that matter. Yeah, just a little bit different. That's all I wanted to show you. All right, let's wrap this video up. Just a short video, hopefully that shows you some of the offerings that Keith Titanium have that they were kind enough to send to me. Now, I have products from other manufacturers that I like to use as well. It's not just these titanium ones, but as I mentioned earlier, titanium is a great material for not only cutlery, but vessels as well, like your coffee cups, your bowls, your plates, whatever, because they don't hold smells, they don't stain, they're very food safe, they clean up especially easy, they're very tough and very lightweight. So that's the reason why you may want to consider it. Again, take a look at them on the website. The links will be in the video description. You may see something you like. I'm not sure that I would buy any one of these by itself, but only because of shipping. But if I was going to buy something else, like one of their pots or their mugs or water bottles, it makes it a lot cheaper just to add this into the mix, and then, of course, the shipping is spread out over both items that way. Just a thought. All right, that's all I have for you today. If you have any comments or questions about these products, put them in the comments section below. But until next time, get out and explore and take that path less traveled, because it will make all the difference. Bye for now.